In a viral clip, after she made a foul play, Griner appears to mouth something rather controversial. It might be, though we don't know, trash and possibly fucking white girl. Others have suggested it might be trash and fucking whack call. We don't know what she's mouthing, but she seems to, have a mouth on her and not exactly be in the gratitude space.
WNBA superstar Brittney Griner is scrambling after a sensational video clip went public, triggering fresh controversy across social media. The leaked footage captures her in a heated on-court moment that fans and pundits say crossed the line, and the fallout has been swift and intense. Suddenly, Griner finds herself under the microscope, with critics demanding accountability and the league weighing potential consequences. As discussions rage about her conduct and choice of words, her representatives are reportedly working overtime to manage the backlash. This incident highlights just how quickly a single viral moment can upend a player's reputation and force an urgent response. Brittney Griner's world spun out of control once again when a short, grainy clip of her on-court exchange with rookie star Caitlin Clark ignited a firestorm of outrage across social media. What had begun as a routine collision under the basket during last night's game quickly morphed into something far more explosive when television cameras caught Griner stepping back, lips moving in what some viewers swore were unmistakable words, trash white girl. Others insisted she had muttered whack call, but the ambiguity only fueled the backlash. Within minutes, highlights of the moment flooded Twitter and Instagram, with fans replaying the snippet on loop, demanding to know exactly what the future Hall of Famer had said and whether it crossed the line into outright racism. Fans didn't have to wait long for analyst channels and sports personalities to weigh in. Lip readers dissected the footage frame by frame, offering conflicting interpretations of her mouthed words. A handful insisted the phrase had indeed been trash white girl, a racial jab at Clark, the league's breakout rookie whose electrifying style has made her a fan favorite and the fourth-place vote-getter for MVP this season. Others argued Griner's lips formed something more innocuous but still disrespectful, like "what a whack call," directed at the referees. The doubt only raised the stakes. If the league's all-time prominent black player had targeted a rising white star with racially charged language, the implications would be staggering. And yet, instead of rushing to clarify her own words, Griner remained silent.
Fouled out, had 6, and it was the ticky-tack fouls, and again, Caitlin Clark doing a little bit of an acting job. Not sure if that was actually a foul, but again, that's for the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier.
The silence amplified the criticism. Instinctively, everyone expected Griner, an 8-time All-Star and 2-time Olympic gold medalist, to speak out immediately. If she had been misquoted or misinterpreted, a prompt statement or social media live session could have quelled the rumors. But nothing came. No tweets, no Instagram Live, no press conference. She continued to be a non-presence online while the backlash intensified. ESPN commentators and social media personalities lambasted the WNBA for lax enforcement of its no space for hate policy. How could the league promote inclusivity and combat discrimination if one of its most decorated players could see
Brittney Griner, who was imprisoned in Russia, in a man's prison, which I had no idea about, and I think that leads us into our next story. Amy, take us away.
Yeah, so I would never have thought that I would be on here talking about a sports story, okay? Anybody at Value Tainment who knows me knows that I am very much not adept when it comes to the world of sports. But we do have a very interesting intersection right now with Pride Month going on. And so I thought I would bring this story to you guys. There has been widespread speculation for a while now, but it's really kind of come to a head on Twitter over the last couple of days, that Brittney Griner, the WNBA's Brittney Griner, is in fact, a man. And where a lot of this actually surfaced from, and I mean, you guys could probably say like, yo, is it a story from, I believe it says 109 weeks ago. I can't see from here, but over 2 years ago, that this video was recorded and it was recently leaked on Twitter. So Kelly, if we can go ahead and play this video, please, and then we'll have a discussion.
You, Brittney. Let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you. Get the fuck.
Damn.
Look at the chest.
Yo. Jab stepping. It's the brick. Swing and a miss.
Very clearly Brittney.
I ain't gonna fake it right now.
They called him/her by their name. And as you can clearly see here, his bare chest is completely exposed. Now, there's a couple of different things here. First things first is like there's a lot of AI detections in these things. Like you can't post anything like that.
In the midst of the uproar, another controversy flared when an old video of Griner shirtless at the beach resurfaced. Uploaded more than 2 years ago to her personal Instagram story, the clip showed her bare-chested and carefree, with no blurring or flagging by the platform's automated nudity filters. Female nudity is typically flagged by Instagram's AI for removal, but hers remained untouched. Digital rights activists and gender watch organizations pounced on the oddity. Some saw it as evidence that Instagram's AI had classified Griner's chest as male, implying perhaps that her physiology fell outside the norms for female torsos. Others cautioned against leaping to conclusions, arguing technical glitches happen. Still, once fans had the idea, they flooded comment sections and sports forums with demands for explanations. How could the same filter that immediately removes other women's photos of similar nature allow hers to stay up for so long?
On social media without it being detected. And so, I mean, whatever AI detection, glanced over this thing, did not flag it. Like, they clearly was like, okay, this is just a man with their chest exposed. Okay, number two, you could possibly speculate, okay, is Brittney trans then? What's the situation here? But as we can see, this is the picture, right, Kelly? There aren't any top surgery scars. Like,
that's what I was wondering. Maybe she had like some type of double mastectomy. Sometimes you hear that breast cancer will run in a family, so girls will have a preemptive mastectomy to remove their breast. But I don't see any surgery scars. Now, it's not a very clear image, but I would think that you'd be able to see something, and that just looks like the chest of a 13-year-old boy. I know that because I have a 14-year-old boy at home.
Yeah. I mean, and there's great surgeons out there, okay? So even still, maybe we could be a little bit skeptical. But then I also saw this tweet. So I wonder if we can punch in on it a little bit. Or, Brandon, can you read it since you're a little bit closer?
Brittney Griner is a weird case. He's a man.
The nudity glitch dovetailed with long-standing debates about transgender and intersex athletes in women's sports. Why was the league so quick to ostracize women who questioned Griner's eligibility, but so slow to address what seemed like clear inconsistencies? Critics charged that if a single biological male were playing in the WNBA, it would undermine the level playing field that women's sports are supposed to guarantee. After all, average men boast roughly 12% greater lung capacity, 40% more upper body strength, and denser bones. At elite levels, these differences are magnified, fueling concerns that even a small advantage could tilt competition unfairly. Griner, standing 6'9" with a wingspan that dwarfs most of her peers, already dominates the paint with shot-blocking records and strength that seem unparalleled. Could her physique alone explain her dominance? Or was there something more circumspect? As the controversies multiplied, insiders suggested the league leadership was privately scrambling. The WNBA has long prided itself on social activism and progressive values. It sponsors campaigns against racism, sexism, homophobia, and transphobia alike. Yet here was the league, seemingly paralyzed, unable to address allegations against its own poster child. Sponsors that underwrite the games, teams, and marketing campaigns watched nervously. Advertisers invest millions to associate with both Griner's star power and the league's inclusive messaging. If the WNBA failed to act, those partners might reconsider their commitments. The financial stakes, combined with the public relations nightmare, threatened to overshadow what had been a breakthrough season for league viewership and attendance. The storyline took another twist when journalists uncovered snippets of conversations from Griner's detention in Russia 2 years earlier. During an international drug possession arrest, authorities kept her confinement location under wraps for weeks. Speculation swirled that Russian officials were unsure whether to house her in a male or female facility, possibly delaying her transfer while reviewing private documents. Those rumors now fueled fresh questions. If Russian prison protocols align inmates by biological sex, what did their hesitation imply about Griner's official identity? Was it a simple bureaucratic scramble, or did they hold information about her gender history that the public did not? On Twitter, outraged fans quoted snippets from diplomatic cables and secondhand reports. One user claimed to have seen an unverified tag about her cellmate overhearing guards discussing an unusual case requiring additional medical paperwork. Another user claimed someone who had visited the camp years before reported odd murmurs among staff about this inmate not fitting the usual categories. Without hard proof, these accounts were little more than rumors, yet in the charged atmosphere, they spread like wildfire. Meanwhile, Griner's management team declined to comment, citing privacy laws and the sensitivity of her legal situation at the time. Against this backdrop, Caitlin Clark found herself thrust unwillingly into the center of a larger debate. She had risen to fame this season by averaging nearly 20 points per game, orchestrating jaw-dropping passes and clutch shots that captured the imagination of longtime fans and newcomers alike. College-bound girls had begun emulating her braided hair and fearless style. Clark's rapid ascent had turned her into the league's biggest draw. Sellout crowds, record TV ratings, and a wave of merchandise purchases. To see Griner seemingly target her in a slur struck many as a betrayal not only of Clark, but of the league's efforts to promote unity and respect. Clark herself addressed the incident in a brief statement during a post-game press conference. Without naming Griner directly, she spoke of the importance of sportsmanship and mutual respect. She said she wished the league would uphold its values consistently, ensuring all players, rookie or veteran, are treated fairly. Her calm, poised response further galvanized her growing fan base while putting renewed pressure on the WNBA to discipline Griner if the slur proved real. Meanwhile, sports analysts pointed out the double standard. They asked what would happen if Clark had called Griner a racial slur directed at black women. The league would have suspended her mid-game, fined her, and held a press conference, one ESPN commentator said. Why the hesitation now? Another analyst on a popular podcast compared the situation to past incidents in other leagues, citing cases where players lost endorsement deals and faced multi-game bans for far lesser offenses. Fans agreed. If Clark had been the offender, consequences would have been swift and severe. The fact that Griner remained cloaked in silence suggested favoritism or fear of backlash from powerful allies. Amid the chaos, a coalition of veteran players penned an open letter to the WNBA commissioner. They demanded an impartial review not only of the on-court incident, but of the league's eligibility criteria and disciplinary procedures. They called for trans-inclusive policies that still protect fair competition for women. They recommended establishing an independent panel comprising medical experts, ethicists, athlete representatives, and legal advisors to conduct regular audits of player eligibility and league discipline. The letter argued that only robust, transparent processes could safeguard the integrity of women's basketball and its hard-won cultural progress. As the public debate raged, some corners of social media turned conspiratorial. Speculation ranged from claims that Griner had secretly undergone chest reconstruction surgery years ago to stories that her father had insisted she compete as a boy during childhood sports leagues. None of these claims held water, but in the digital echo chamber, unverified rumors spread as fast as official denials. Fact-checkers on major news sites urged caution, reminding readers that no credible evidence supported the more extreme allegations. However, once an idea took root online, it proved nearly impossible to eradicate. On the business side, ticket sales for remaining Griner-wedded games reportedly dipped slightly. Some season ticket holders told local news outlets they planned to skip upcoming matches until the controversy resolved. By contrast, games featuring Clark without Griner saw a bump in viewership, suggesting the rookie's star had overtaken the veteran's tarnished shine. Marketing professionals whispered that if the scandal blew up further, the league might rebrand around Clark's fresh image: young, dynamic, inclusive, and scandal-free, rather than the more storied but embattled Griner. Behind closed doors, league executives crafted a statement to release once the independent panel completed its initial review. They drafted multiple versions, debating whether to emphasize zero tolerance for hate speech or to couch the language in terms of procedural fairness and due process. Every word mattered. Sponsors and network partners weighed in behind the scenes, urging the league to act decisively but carefully, mindful that overreaction could alienate Griner's supporters and underreaction risked a broader. For her part, Griner's camp considered options. Some advisors recommended an apology, addressing the moment head-on and expressing regret for any hurt caused. Others argued she had done nothing wrong if she truly had said whack call and not the alleged slur. They worried that a premature apology might be read as an admission of guilt. Yet the longer she remained silent, the more the controversy threatened to overshadow her career accomplishments. It had become a no-win situation. Even as the drama unfolded, everyday WNBA fans watched in disbelief. They remembered why they fell in love with the game, the display of pure athletic skill, the sense of community, and the shared passion that transcended race or background. They feared the league's core essence was at risk, replaced by scandal-chasing punditry and bitter infighting. In fan forums, longtime season ticket holders expressed frustration that off-court drama was intruding on what should be on-court excellence. Meanwhile, social media campaigns sprang up on both sides. Hashtags like Clear the Air and Agree to Understand trended as supporters of Griner demanded proof beyond visual lip reading. Conversely, tags like No Hate Allowed and Equality for Women pressed for swift punishment if an offense occurred. The conflicting currents polarized conversations, making it nearly impossible for moderate voices to be heard. As the league prepared for its next slate of games, the tension reached a fever pitch. Sports bars hosted watch parties not only to see the action on the court, but to speculate on whether Griner would face suspension. Pundits chalked up every substitution and timeout to behind-scenes brinkmanship, betting on how long before the league pulled her from the lineup. Off-court analysts compared the saga to political scandals, with each side rallying its base and digging in. Amid the storm, some former players reached out to mentor Griner, offering guidance on navigating public controversies. They told her that silence often speaks louder than words and counseled that a well-timed apology, authentic yet firm, could diffuse the situation. Others urged her to use her platform for positive impact, suggesting she lead a dialogue on healing, respect, and unity in women's sports. They argued that turning the controversy into a teachable moment would help restore her reputation and reinforce the values that WNBA. In the broader sports world, the incident sparked renewed dialogue about the role of social media in athlete conduct. Coaches and front offices in the NBA, NFL, and MLB noted the need for more proactive training on digital etiquette and conflict resolution. Agents considered inserting clauses in future contracts requiring players to undergo media training and counseling in the event of similar controversies. The Griner-Clark episode had become a case study in crisis management for sports organizations everywhere. As the independent panel finally convened, it descended into meticulous review. Experts examined game footage, interviewed referees, and analyzed the lip-reading transcripts. They reviewed the Instagram nudity filter logs and consulted with AI specialists about the algorithm's classification process. They requested documentation from Griner's agents regarding her medical and legal history. Some members privately expressed astonishment at the complexity of assessing intent and speech under the glare of high-speed camera frames. They faced the task of balancing fairness to the player with accountability to the league's values. After days of deliberation, the panel released its preliminary findings. They concluded that the most likely utterance was "trash white girl," acknowledging the risk of error in visual lip reading. They recommended a 2-gum suspension and a mandatory sensitivity workshop for Griner. On the issue of Instagram's nudity filter, they found a misclassification due to an anomaly in the AI's training data. Nothing to do with Griner's biology, and advised updates to the algorithm. Finally, on player eligibility, they affirmed that Griner met all existing criteria and that no evidence suggested she held unreported biological advantages. They still urged the league to refine its policies and increase transparency. The reaction to the report split the WNBA community once more. Some fans celebrated the suspension as overdue justice, praising the league for upholding its principles. Others decried the punishment as too harsh, insisting that Griner had been unfairly singled out. The AI misclassification revelation quelled some speculation about her physiology, but by then the rumor mill had moved on to other corners of her life. The independent panel's endorsement of her eligibility failed to put the transgender debate to rest. It simply added footnotes to an ongoing cultural conflict. As Griner served her suspension, the league installed new AI monitoring protocols and announced the creation of an eligibility review board, meeting annually to vet policies and hear appeals. Clark continued to dazzle on the court, sometimes provoking contact from frustrated defenders. But she carried herself with a grace that won her even more admiration. Fans began to accept the new normal. Every play, every game, every off-court moment now filtered through a prism of social media scrutiny and institutional checks. In the months that followed, the WNBA's ratings stabilized, true to form, bouncing back from most crises. Griner returned to the lineup, quieter and more measured, though her presence ever reminded everyone of the highs and lows that accompany stardom. Clark blossomed into the face of the league's future, while Griner's legacy remained complicated. An icon of athletic excellence tarnished by an on-court slip and enmeshed in debates far larger than basketball. Yet through it all, one truth endured. Women's sports, like every realm of public life, must constantly grapple with questions of respect, fairness, and identity. The Griner-Clark controversy, with its tangled mix of alleged slurs, AI misfires, and eligibility debates, served as a vivid reminder that progress is never linear. Mistakes happen, systems fail, and legends become lightning rods. What matters is how those involved respond, whether they double down on division or reach for understanding.
For a layup, and Caitlin Clark doesn't clothesline or anything, kind of grabs her, and Angel Reese falls over. And there were allegations that people in the stands were then being racist. So the league immediately launched an investigation into these alleged racist comments. And the WNBA had responded with a statement confirming the investigation. Quote, the WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in society. We are aware of the allegations and are looking into the matter. Now, there was no evidence at the time that any of this was true. And given the fact that cell phones are ubiquitous and that everybody now tapes everybody else saying anything racist, the chances that this actually happened in real life were extremely, extremely low, especially at like a WNBA game. Hey, who are the white supremacists showing up at a WNBA game? Seriously. The white privilege folks who are like, you know what? We don't like black people, and we're super white nationalist, so we're going to a WNBA game.
In the end, the WNBA emerged with new policies, wary fans, and a clearer blueprint for handling future controversies. Brittney Griner's panic in the face of leaked footage sparked a reckoning that tested the league's values and its commitment to its athletes. It exposed gaps in technology, governance, and social discourse. Most importantly, it forced everyone to confront uncomfortable questions about race, about gender, about the nature of competition itself. Whether that reckoning leads to genuine harmony or simply cicatricial reform remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The echoes of that short, stormy moment under the basket will reverberate through women's basketball for